Welcome to the first ever 5-hole podcast. I'm Niko Laoutaris with Nick, Natalie, and how you feeling, Nick?
I'm feeling great. I really am. I'm super excited to be here. Wanted to work with you for a long time now, so happy to finally be in the booth with my boy.
Listen, sometimes you're a hot commodity, sometimes you're not.
Apparently, I wasn't. I wasn't on the draft boards that high. Apparently.
Listen, we had a formidable duo last semester.
Yes,
but it's time to move on. People move on from this place, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's just I think it's time for a new leaf.
A new leaf.
A new leaf.
So this year, last year, the last show I didn't really get to talk about hockey because my former co-host didn't really know about hockey. At least this time we get to talk about the Owls a little bit more.
We can,
which is going to be exciting.
Very excited for.
So, what do you want to start with first? I think we go. Let's talk about Owls first.
Yeah,
let's talk about our Owls.
Let's enjoy it while we can.
Big win over Baby Blue and the PJs.
Sweeping them for the first time since 1989, 1990.
That's a big. I mean, for
the
disappointment of the season that the season has been so far, I'll take the little wins. I'll take
it too.
You got to.
Agree.
God, this mic keeps falling. You get the little wins over. I would say a good team and good team in Toronto. I mean, they're struggling against some bad teams. I know they're getting swept by.
They're hot and cold. They really are.
They're getting swept by the Blackhawks this season so far. I don't think they have a good record against the Ducks. I really don't think they have a good record against the Sharks either. They have Martin Jones has kind of fell off for them. I think he got dropped to the minors, but good win for the Isles this weekend coming out of the All-Star break. Entering the halfway point, they were fourth in the Metro, 2017 and 12 with 52 points, third in the wild card. But I think they're closer to getting third place in the Metro than they are the wild card, just the way points are working right now, because the two
very much agree.
Two wild card teams are both the Atlantic teams. So 4 points back right now of the Flyers too. And stats, I mean, I don't remember seeing stats like this in years.
Yeah.
From these guys. I mean, 52. I mean, the Owls have always played in that system with Trotz being, low scoring, defensive oriented. And now we're kind of focusing on offense and getting a lot of points. I mean, 52 points leading the team. This is before the All-Star break. Dobson had 6 goals, 46 assists. Barzal 51 points, Horvat 45, Nelson 38. And, Barzal, you see Barzal in the skills competition this year?
Flying. Absolutely flying.
Dude,
absolutely flying.
He came, I like the new format, came in second in
I enjoy it. I think it's exciting. This is something that I think that maybe the NBA could look at adopting, whether it's, maybe putting, the 3-point contest and the dunk contest and some other, events throughout the NBA All-Star break. They could put that together. Maybe even the MLB brings back stuff like that. I mean, they used to have a skills competition, way back when, with catchers throwing down to, second base on a steal, fielding competitions, bunting competitions. I think it's something that can be adapted to almost every league. And I know a lot of people, especially with the NBA, they watch the 3-point contest and, other events like that much more than the All-Star game, right? The All-Star game's good. It's fun. It's an exciting thing. It's definitely something. It's a resume builder for any, professional player. But to have
especially those in smaller markets. I mean,
absolutely.
I think you talk about smaller markets and even the Islanders. Islanders are, they are in New York, but they are a smaller market. And Barzal, it's good to get some national recognition for his skills, because a lot of people were surprised seeing him. I mean, I know Oz
he won it 2 years ago.
One fastest skater, 3 years ago, beating McDavid. I think it was 13.1 seconds. This year he had 13.5, so a little bit slower, but he did slip a little bit. And I just think that the All-Star game's good sometimes, but when you get into some of the older, the newer formats, the NFL, I don't think anyone enjoys flag football.
No,
I don't think anyone enjoyed the last couple of years of the Pro Bowl game.
No, I understand
with the 2-hand touch bear hug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which is just ridiculous. But I think that the new format for the NHL this year actually kind of worked. I mean,
It's very competitive, and it's an
they had
overall skills. It's not,
they
"Oh,
had 12.
he's a fast skater. Oh, he can shoot." It's, "All right, we wanna see if you could do everything. You're an all-star. You should be able to do just about everything."
Yeah, so out of the 6 events, you pick 4,
I thought it was great. Great
and
idea.
most points wins. And obviously, the player with the most points wins. And the best player should win, and the best player did win.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping, I mean, Isles are in a new arena. When's the All-Star game coming to the island, man? It's gonna be exciting to see
I don't
them
know.
when they
I
come
think
to New
we
York.
have a better chance of
I'd say
Arizona getting one than us getting one
I could see New York getting one within the next
at MSG,
3 to
not here,
4 years. You
not on
really
the
don't
island,
think UPS is gonna get one?
not on the island.
Brand
I
new
don't know. I
stadium?
mean, when was the last time the island saw an All-Star game?
A long time ago. But then again, they've been in a, they've been in
Yeah,
the
I mean,
Coliseum for the past gazillion years.
the
I also will say, though,
14,000 seats.
there is a lot of development going into the UBS Arena. There is a new downtown district going right across the street on Hempstead Turnpike. They're building a new outdoor rink. They're putting a lot into that area.
I think that's their goal.
It's going to be a couple years before the All-Star game does come to the island, but there's a lot of great things they're doing, especially, with the nightlife downtown area of Elmont. There really is none in Elmont right now, but what's going to come there, and especially with the historic, Belmont Park being right next to it, that's getting a major renovation as well. Sports books are being talked about being put in there, especially with all the new online betting and sports betting allowed in New York. I could definitely see UBS putting in a bid in the next 3 to 4 years, especially once they really start getting everything going around that area, with the restaurant district, shops, hotels, sports book, the new Belmont Park, which will be coming within the next 2 years. I think like this summer, the Belmont Stakes will not be happening in Belmont. It will be moved up to Saratoga, which I'm a little upset about because I really enjoy.
I think
going
they're
to
trying
Belmont.
to sculpt like the perfect air. I mean, you look at like I went down to Tampa and Emily Arena, and that was like that whole, it's like kind of like on a little island basically, and that whole thing is like focusing on the Lightning. The Emily Arena is right there. They have a great outdoor scenery. They
Very
have
much so.
great. They have a mall nearby. They have a bunch of stores nearby, a bunch of restaurants, and I think that's what they're going to try to do in Belmont. I mean, that mall's coming in, like you talked about.
Yeah, it's gonna be outside. It's
It's gonna
gonna
be
be
outside
walking.
mall connected with basically UBS Arena because
Yes.
it's right next to the
Yep.
parking garage.
Yep. And this is a common theme we see all over the country. I've been to just about 20 of the 30 MLB ballparks throughout the United States, and they all have that common theme, especially all the new ballparks. They kind of mask it after the Wrigleyvilles, the Fenway, the stuff like that. They try and make it that there's an overall atmosphere that you could be at, within that 2 square mile area around the stadium. You could be there for 6 to 8 hours. 2 hours before the game itself, 2 hours after the game, restaurants, bars, shops, all that stuff. Bringing that into UBS and Elmont will become so much more attractive to the NHL to bring an All-Star game to UBS, which I would love to see. It's very easy to access by train, by multiple forms of
No, yeah,
transit.
it's right off the Parkway,
Mhm.
right. The train,
Train's right there.
The LTIR goes right to the stadium. Basically, it's literally next door to it.
Yep.
It's one of the most easily. I know, for me coming from Westchester, going down, it's way easier than going to Nassau, and it was way easier than going to
Technically, it is
Brooklyn.
Nassau County, which is good in my heart. It's still
I'm talking
516,
about the Collie. I mean, the Collie's a little bit farther.
Yes.
It's a different route to take.
Coliseum
and
was very
even
hard
when
to
they
get
moved to
to.
Brooklyn, it was farther for me to get there too because it was longer because of the traffic. But now it only takes like 30 minutes coming from basically anywhere
Yes.
in Westchester. Get 30 minutes to get there, and the scenery's good. An All-Star game could come, but I don't think so.
I think I would think 4, 5 max, between that 3 to 5 range. Once they really get that area developed, it's gonna be.
We
got
a comment coming in saying that the All-Star game is not going to UBS Arena. Stop getting your hopes up. I agree.
We'll see.
I don't think it's coming there.
We'll see. They're gonna build a great little environment around that place, and it'll be. Really,
I mean, that's
really fun
that's the
to.
goal. I mean, you talk about teams like the Arizona Coyotes who do have a subpar. I mean, forget about subpar. They have the worst stadium in the league. It holds 2,000 people, and their growth as a team, as popularity, is stumped because of it.
Yeah.
If they move to a bigger arena, they move to a new arena, maybe more fans start showing up. But you're seeing teams, they're at home games, and opposing teams, away teams, their fan bases come and flood the stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. Where is he? Robert. How many people of the other team were at the Coyote Stadium? Yeah. It was so he went for the Coyotes Wild game. Thank you. He went to the Coyotes Wild game, and he said it was a majority of Wild fans in the building. And there's only only a couple thousand seats in that building, and you're being showed up against the away team.
I mean, listen, that's like playing in Heinz. Like, it's really not much of a advantage.
It might be smaller
than Heinz.
I'm gonna be honest.
It might be smaller than Heinz. I mean, who knows? But it's not.
We got to look up like the capacity
of Heinz.
Yeah.
Heinz?
I'm pretty sure the Coyote Stadium holds 2,000.
2,500 people can fit into the Heinz Athletic Center
and
at Iona.
The Coyote Stadium,
the Mullet
Arena capacity 5,000. All right, so it's a little bit bigger.
All right,
it's a little
bit
bigger.
Twice the size of Iona.
Twice the size.
Do
yeah, for a National Hockey League stadium.
Well, then again, it is
a college stadium, but the fact that a national team plays in there is kind of pathetic.
Where else are they supposed to go? It's Phoenix.
They had a nice stadium before.
Yeah, but sometimes you just need that change. It wasn't what they needed.
They need to move into a bigger stadium. Let's get back to.
They're gonna move into.
Let's get back to some stats. So, coming into the All-Star break, before Wah, took over, which we're going to talk about, you got Sorokin leading the league in shots faced with 1,200. Defense has been absolutely abysmal. I mean, ranked 31st in shot attempts and goals and shots allowed, which is right above the Sharks. The Sharks are an abysmal team.
Yes.
31st in the league in PK at 72%. Top 10 in goals allowed at 3.3. Third in expected goals against. The defense under Lane Lambert was struggling.
Terrible.
And yes, I'll give credit to injuries, because Pelech was out for a good amount of Pelech was out for a good amount of the season. Pollock was out for 20 something games, and one game into the season you lose Scott Mayfield, who just signed a 7-year contract to.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to combat, but I do think, I know me and you talked about it. The Mike Riley pickup was definitely a good pickup. The Bortuzzo was just to fill in a spot. But picking up Mike Riley is really a good move, especially now. You're looking at the offensive numbers that he puts up. He's really impacted the play, especially with the new way that was running up the offense.
Absolutely. Mike Riley is a guy that's been around the league for a while. Played with the Wild, played with the Sens. Most recently, he was with the Panthers, which was a tough situation down there. They got a great defensive line down there in Florida. And he just got the short end of the stick, and they had to put him on waivers, which kind of sucked, but it is what it is. And he, the Islanders were able to go and pick him up right away. Local guy, actually, from Long Island, which is really cool. I think a lot of fans, originally an Oyster Bay guy. I think his dad was, I think coached the Bridgeport Islanders, if I'm not mistaken, for a while. So he's been through the Islander system for a while. Grew up in Oyster Bay, Long Island, which a lot of people enjoy.
And we picked him up basically from
off waivers from Florida, because the Panthers were in a similar situation. They needed guys. They had a lot of injuries, and they have really good defensemen, but they were hurt. And he just got the short end of the stick, kicked him out, and the Islanders picked him up right away when, as their guys were falling, Florida's guys were coming back. So it was really a win-win. But Bortuzzo will definitely be gone next season. I could see Mike Riley be coming back. When you got younger guys,
he could definitely fit into the starting run. Like, even with everyone healthy, I think that we saw it last night not last night, the night before, that he fits into the lineup.
Yeah,
he does. He fits into the lineup even when everyone's healthy. I mean, we have Mayfield back, we have Pelech back, we have Pollock back, and Riley's fitting into that last spot on the on the defense. And he does have, he's a veteran. being in Boston for a little bit, then being with the Panthers. I mean, he's a good offensive weapon. He knows what it's like to play in the playoffs.
Mhm.
And I think it's a good move. Exchanging, dropping Aho out of the lineup for someone like Riley, I think is a good move. You get more veteran presence. You get more uh, sound offensively minded that can also get back on defense. I feel like that's the problem with Aho's game, is that he doesn't really have good defensive numbers.
Mhm.
But overall, I really like it. How do you feel about Waugh coming in after the All-Star break and that win?
Love it. I love Patrick Waugh. I mean, I was very surprised when they picked him up. I thought they were going to pull just to, get me through the season, McLean or one of the other guys on that bench saying it, just, finish out the season for us and we'll go from there. But Lou took it upon himself and said, "Listen, I have an opportunity to make a long-term deal. I mean, not just a Band-Aid, but a real stitch and really fixing this bench." Bringing in Waugh, I think, was a great idea. He's a guy with a name, with a legacy behind him of winning. He won everywhere he went, even when he was a coach for the brief stint with the Avalanche. He won as a coach, not only as
Yeah,
a player.
Jack Adams winner. I mean, he took him to the playoffs. They had a full turnaround of that year. He really changed a lot of their players for the better. I mean, maybe propelled them to where they are today. I mean,
yeah, and then when he was with the Rimparts, he was a great coach. He just came off winning I think it's a
yeah, he won the Calder.
Yes, he won the Calder Trophy, which is a
I
no
believe.
joke deal, especially dealing with high ranked and high level, young players. This is a younger team now, right? Having guys come in like Holmstrom as well
Yeah,
as
maybe
Aho,
it's not as young.
Dobson, Romanov. These guys are 24 years old. They're young. Obviously you have, solid veterans like Cal Clutterbuck as well as, Pellick and Pollock.
Don't get me wrong. The team is still top heavy.
But
the team is still veteran. It's
Yes.
still a large majority of veteran presence. I mean,
But
players like Brock Nelson, Kyle Clutterbuck, Casey Zegas, Matt Martin, Kyle Palmieri. Last year with Zach Parise, who's now on the Avalanche. But it's you Anders Lee's getting up there. I mean, a lot of the talent is
older,
older 20s, younger 30s, maybe mid 30s.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is like under Lane, I feel like they stopped playing for each other. They stopped fighting. There was no energy really on the bench, which is totally different. You see now the defenders, they're pushing up into the play. I mean, watching like a player like, you think of Alexander Romanov as not really offensively minded.
He's got a great wrist shot.
He is a great wrister. I mean, we saw those 2 goals, 2 weeks ago where
you pull him off the blue line, you draw the defenders away, and you give him a lane. The guy's got a really nice wrist shot.
You see what
I was impressed.
You could see where that Waugh effect takes into account. I mean, when you're going in for a change and you have, let's just say 2 forwards going for a change and the other, defender going for a change, and you have a defenseman and an offenseman, under Lane, that's a dump and change immediately.
Yep.
But now they're pushing the play over past the blue line, and Romanov gets good wristers off, or he'll pass it off, and whatever forwards in there can get a shot on that. You see it more. You see more pinching at the right moments, which I think under Lane they were pinching, but
not at the right time.
Not at the right time and too frequently. They weren't really playing defense.
Yeah.
They weren't.
No.
They weren't playing defense. And
listen, they were getting more shots and they were scoring more, and they were being a little more offensively minded, especially with that first line, which is a great first line.
One of the best in expected goals in the league. I think it's top 5 in expected goals.
Yes. Very, very, very good. So, just looking at that saying, all right, Horvat's working out. He's playing really well. He's connecting a lot with Barzal, and they're using Barzal to the best of his ability. And the best ability that Barzal has is stick handling, skating, and assists. That's his MO. He can score. Barzal has a good shot, a pretty great shot, honestly.
He's got a good shot. I wouldn't say great. He's not like an elite scorer, I think, but his skating does let him get room to shoot.
I will say he is probably one of the best setup men in the league.
100%.
Getting that play going, getting Horvat in a spot to really let him rip it. Because, again, the shooter on that line is Bo Horvat. He is a great shooter. He is one of the, he's one of the best shots, I'd say, in the league, coming after being a captain in Canuck with the Canucks. I think it's a great line. Being able to let Barzal be a lot more comfortable in setting up plays and developing and allowing his players to get set, whether that's, Lee right in front of the goalie and getting ready for a tip, getting Horvat open for an open shot. I love it. Definitely.
I'm trying to find it. I
can
was
see
reading. I was
Wab-
reading a stat of under Wah. I think Barzella's average. I think it was 25 minutes, 23 minutes, 20.
He's playing a lot.
He's 23 minutes,
A
24
lot.
minutes. I think if you're gonna play, if you think that you're your bottom 6 players, maybe bottom 3, because the bottom 6 can work sometimes, but maybe your bottom 3, your fourth line, if you don't have confidence in them during late in the game, or even important moments where you're trying to like tie up the game or take the lead, play your best player. Play your best player.
Put your best guy out there and let him play to his strengths.
That's it. Let him,
don't make him uncomfortable. Don't make him force anything. Letting him play to his strengths.
Dude, give him the opportunity. Give him the opportunity to actually play his style of game. I mean, forcing, we saw at the beginning of the season that, Barzal was kind of playing the point and, kind of going to the circle a little bit and trying to get those slap shots off, kind of like Ovi style.
Yes.
And we saw a couple goals, but that's not his game. His game is puck possession. Good teams play with puck possession. They kill the other team in puck possession. The Canucks, number one in the league in puck possession. The Rangers, number 2 in the league in puck possession. You win the games by having puck possession. That's it. And Barzal gives you the best puck possession on the team. He holds the puck. He can have 3 guys, swarming him, but he holds the puck. And that's what you need. You need to stay in the offensive zone, and you need to, get shots on net, especially. Let's move on a little bit. We'll switch up the.
I think we move on to the elephant in the room, and that would be the big game coming on Sunday.
I think we finish with that.
I
think we talk a little bit about the Knicks for a second. Give me 5 minutes.
Hottest team in the NBA.
The hottest team in the NBA.
Hottest team in the NBA.
All right. So, as of right now, I wrote this the other day, but as of right now, they are 3rd in the East. Since January 1st, this is in the month of January, 14-2, that was best in the league. 48 rebounds per game, best in the league. Top 10 in three-pointers. Top 10 in blocks. 4th in assists, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's happened, they went on a 9-game win streak.
9 games, yep.
And then losing to the Lakers last week.
No Randall and no OG.
No Julius Randle, no OG Anunoby. And oh my God, this team is good even without them.
They kept it a game. And this is a Laker team that just went in with no Anthony Davis and no LeBron and beat Boston in the TD Garden. That was a huge win for them right before they played the Knicks. Big confidence booster.
And then going
against the Knicks with then they gained back AD and LeBron, and now no OG and no Julius Randle.
Listen,
that was a huge, I think that was a huge momentum shift for the Lakers, being able to go into Boston and get the job done. That was very impressive.
I think that without a doubt, you have one of your all-stars out in Julius Randle, who did make the all-star reserves, and OG Anunoby, who, if he was with the Knicks longer, probably would become an all-star.
He fits them like a glove.
Oh my God. What a trade. I mean, you take out, two of your best players, Emmanuel Quickley and Julius Randle, and you trade them for OG Anunoby and Precious Achiuwa, and both of them show out. Precious was just an add-on to that trade.
Precious, I think, just started to step up. I think Precious stepped up because everyone else was stepping up, and he realized, like, oh, if I want to be on this team, I'm gonna have to start playing better.
I mean,
and he did get an opportunity, especially with the fact that Mitchell Robinson's gonna be down for a while. So
Hartenstein is the number 1, so it immediately moves Achiuwa to number 2.
Right.
But
think about it; they don't even have their number 1 center, and they're playing like this. They haven't had him the whole time. Of this win streak.
And
crazy.
A lot of people are saying, Dante DiVincenzo right now isn't the number 2 guy, or he shouldn't be the number 2 guy, which he is.
It's usually Randall.
And then it's OG after that, and then it's Dante, or then and then you go to the paint, and it's Hartenstein. But they're looking for a trade. A lot of people, trade rumors are swirling. As of next week, Bleacher Report has DeJounte Murray from the Hawks, 21 points a game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 46 from the field. Permanent shooting guard move. At least the shooting guard depth move.
Who are you gonna trade for that? Because
The Knicks are stacked on first round picks.
Well, then you
They
trade
have
for
4
picks.
first round picks coming. I believe four first round picks coming up this year.
Okay, then you trade for.
They have
picks.
one of the best pick pools out of the NBA. Besides the Thunder.
But the thing is too is like
who have like first round picks up until like I'm like 40.
They're clicking. They are clicking like crazy on offense right now. You really want to mess with that? Like you really want to
see? That was my whole problem when
for me, it's the compatibility of them and how much they're just playing as one makes me think, all right, let me not touch this. Let's get through the year. Then in the offseason, I can really assess what's going on, give it a full majority of the season, right? See how the entire second half goes, make the playoffs, what they do in the playoffs.
The only issue with that is what's Julius Randle's status. Because right now he's being evaluated in another 2 weeks. If that comes back and he doesn't come back for the playoffs, they're in trouble.
He'll be back for the playoffs.
Yeah, but you don't know that.
Still June.
You don't know that. I mean, even with OG, OG's a little bit easier, injury. They're saying that he might come back. He's a day-to-day or whatever. He might come back next week. Yeah. It's only right elbow inflammation, but
not word.
For Julius Randle, we really don't. I mean, like
it's a dislocated shoulder. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a dislocated shoulder, but you don't know if there's ligament tears. You don't know if.
I don't think there would. If there was ligament tears, they'd know about it already. Just because of the fact that he would be in so much more pain than just a dislocated shoulder. I'm not really worried. I don't think there's going to be any ligament tears. I don't think there's going to be any more further damage than just inflammation and soreness and stuff like that. I think it'll be a couple weeks.
Turn the mic.
I think it'll be a couple weeks before he'll be back, anyways. But I don't think it's that serious. I didn't think it was that bad.
I mean,
of an injury.
A lot of people. I was listening to the radio the other day and and people were saying he ain't coming back till October.
That's crazy.
Next season. I mean, you don't know. That's why
you don't.
So last week I was watching or whatever, a couple days ago, watching the Knicks Lakers, and Stephen A. Smith's going nuts. LeBron to New York, LeBron to the Knicks. If LeBron went to the Knicks, I think I'd become a Nets fan. I hate LeBron with a passion. He's I get it. He's great, but LeBron's one of the most annoying people on the planet. He is. Yeah. He'll make the team about him.
He's a great player.
Look, he's one of the greats. I
got playing on the Los Angeles LeBrons.
Dude, I mean, he'll come in. He'll be like, all right, I want this guy, this guy, this guy. Exactly what Aaron Rodgers did to the Jets, and we all know that's the reason that the Jets suck this year. The Jets stunk this year because of Aaron Rodgers, and the Knicks are going to stink if they get LeBron. Thank God they're not going to. But does a move, a smaller move like Murray do the same thing? Affect the team. I mean, everyone's gelled.
Listen, I would not touch this team right now. I would let it play out for the year. Everyone's on contracts. Everyone's long-term. No one's going anywhere. Play it out. Let them keep playing as one. Unless something happens and it runs off the rails. As long as it doesn't run off the rails, I think you let it keep going. Now, one thing I actually want to mention, this just came up on my feed. Something that's pretty cool, a little off topic. Obviously, yesterday came out that MetLife Stadium will be hosting the World Cup final in 2026.
I'm so excited.
That is so cool. My family is huge soccer fans. I know they want to go. One thing that actually is pretty cool, obviously won't be taking place. This won't be taking place at MetLife, but there is a possibility that the United States will play England in a World Cup match in 2026
in
Philadelphia
on July 4th
on the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence.
How
storybook!
That is so awesome. Would that be? Just imagine you're in Philly, 250th anniversary of the Declaration being signed, July 4th, Independence Day, USA versus England, and that building's gonna be rocking.
Yeah, the link will be rocking that day. If it comes to that, that is not a definite possibility yet, but
that would be the most American. That would be the most American thing ever.
I think a lot of people will be pushing for that game.
Playing a sport that you stole from them, playing the team that you got independence from, right?
In the city
the city that they signed the document on the day on the 250th anniversary.
That is absolutely wild to me. Obviously, it's a ways away. 2 years away.
That would be insane.
I would love that. I think that would be so cool. Obviously, that game would be packed out to the gills with people. Philly is a crazy fan base, even if it's just Philadelphians. Even if you just put whatever, how many thousands of Philadelphians in that stands, doesn't even need to be the entire country. You just throw a bunch of fucking.
I think every soccer fan in this country goes there and travels there to go see the game.
Yeah, that game's gonna. I mean, that game's gonna be crazy. That'll be a really cool storyboard to see if it unfolds that way. We're gonna have to talk.
But how do you feel about MetLife being the final? Have you been seeing those? York? You've been seeing those memes where like,
oh yeah,
where, like Europeans pulling up to to East Rutherford, New Jersey, the absolute dump to walk into an AC unit stadium.
Welcome to Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah. like please look at this stadium. It's one of the ugliest things you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
Also, the turf on the field, it will snap one of your ACLs.
It will be moved to grass.
Oh, is it?
They're
Thank
going
God.
to.
They'll do it for the World Cup, but not for the Giants and the Jets.
MetLife announced in their plan that they're going to create a bunch of sections on the lower level. They're going to turn them into convertibles, which means they're just going to be like those bleachers with seats that can fold away, as well as converting the field to grass for the World Cup. So they're going to pull away some seats because they need a little more room. There's a certain amount of room they need.
Yeah, so
legally by the World Cup rules.
Yeah, a soccer field it's about the same size as it's a little bit wider than a football field, but the only thing that
the legal thing that FIFA wants is they want more out of bounds.
Yeah, it's basically the bench, the room for the benches, room for corner kicks, room for throw-ins. Like you need a little bit more space than what
the football field
football field has now, which they're going to do a lot of changes, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
It's 100,000 seat arena. It's going to be packed. It's the World Cup final. 100,000 people around the world are going to be coming there
in New York, which is
easily
crazy.
I want to get a lot of fun. I want to get tickets. I want to go there.
I don't even want to know how much that costs.
Oh my God.
I got to go to a fourth year of college, so maybe
2,000 a seat. Easy.
It's going to be very, very cool. Very, very cool to see.
We're talking about a football stadium.
Where?
Let's talk about the Super Bowl. What do you got to say about the Super Bowl?
The elephant in the room. Obviously with pop culture.
The Chiefs are. Everyone kind of knows. I think the Chiefs are going to win.
Yeah,
they're going to win, but the whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce nonsense. I'm sick and tired of hearing it. I want the season to be over, and Brock Purdy's not a good quarterback. Let's stop thinking he is. He's not. He's not a good quarterback. I'm sorry. Brock Purdy he was picked last for a reason.
Let me just say something.
Nick, if I put you in the backfield of the 49ers with Christian McCaffrey, one of the best O-lines in the game, right? Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and I'll just tell you to throw the ball or just do some lateral plays, you're going to be fine.
I will. Okay.
Am I bugging? Connor, what's your opinion on Brock Purdy? Below average. He's garbage.
He's not garbage.
The guy's garbage.
He's not garbage.
The guy's garbage.
He's not garbage.
He's garbage.
He's not garbage. He's not the best. He's not the worst.
He's one of the worst quarterbacks under pressure. One of the worst.
Okay.
He has zero poise in the pocket. He really, listen, last week aside, he had a very good game last week. And he had a really good performance. But throughout the season, even the week before that, the first week of the playoffs or the second week of the playoffs, he is terrible under pressure. If you send pressure to him, he's making mistakes. He has bad throws. All he has to do is throw a check down to Deebo, and Deebo will get 35 yards after the catch.
I agree.
Right? He does a little lateral play to Brandon Ayuk. He's breaking out. He has the best running back in the league, one of the best old lines in the league, right?
And then he's got
Christian McCaffrey's got lock every game for a touchdown.
He's got weapons.
He is one of the greatest football minds ever as his head coach.
Yeah, I agree. No, he's put in a very ideal situation.
He's put in the most ideal situation.
No, I agree. That's what happens when
a dead last Mr. Irrelevant pick, the worst quarterback taken in the draft, the worst player taken in the draft. He was put in the most ideal situation. All you need, we saw Jimmy Garoppolo do it in San Francisco. Jimmy Garoppolo's not really that good.
I would rather Brock Purdy than Jimmy Garoppolo, though.
I think they're both bad.
I would rather Brock Purdy than Jimmy Garoppolo, especially with the situation that happened with Trey Lance. Trey Lance now is such an unknown.
Trey Lance is
Also,
just,
you have to understand head coach.
the way Dak Prescott's going, Trey Lance is going to take over his job.
It was brought out when Brock Purdy first got to camp. He came up to Shanahan came up to, I think it's not, what's his last name? The owner or the president
Of the Niners?
Yes.
I have no idea.
It's somewhat a K. And
Doesn't matter.
basically he came out and said, listen, Shanahan came up to me, a couple weeks into training camp and goes, we have a good problem and a bad problem. Our bad problem is that Trey Lance is not the best quarterback in the room. And he is not seeming to live up to what people are saying about him.
He barely got to play.
No, I know. He barely got to play, but in training camp and all that stuff, and Shanahan's like, I think my best quarterback is Brock Purdy.
Which is insane
Which is insane. Now, again, he was going up against Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance, someone who's a complete unknown and a guy that's really underperformed.
Yeah, Trey Lance had a couple games to prove himself, if that, before he got hurt again.
I think Trey Lance is still a question mark, right?
Jimmy Garoppolo is terrible. So, picking Brock Purdy over Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance isn't really like a big thing.
Which is pretty crazy.
But if the Niners had somewhat of a decent quarterback, a good quarterback, they're the best team in the league. They have the best.
I agree.
Their defense is scary.
They're going to do it eventually. I don't think Brock Purdy is going to be a permanent.
He's not going to win the Super Bowl. Are we out of our minds?
No, he's not. He's not. But he
this game is completely set up for Patrick Mahomes to win, Taylor Swift to be on the field after the game, and Travis Kelce to propose to her. Absolutely. And all this nonsense. Jackson Mahomes to do gritties on like Brock Purdy's face or something stupid.
But my thing with the Niners is they're paying him, I think it's $800,000 a year.
Yeah, $800,000.
They're going to keep him, ride this out.
No, you got to pay him more.
They're going to keep
how long is his contract? Is it just this year?
4 years. It's a rookie deal.
How much is left on it? 2 years left after this season?
Left after this. So, with that being said,
dude, imagine riding a Super Bowl paying your quarterback $800,000
and then saying, okay, we can either keep Brock Purdy and do what we're doing. You don't know what happens in 2 years from now, or we can trade up. We have weapons we have people to dispose of. We want to go get a more athletic quarterback in the draft. We want to go trade for a quarterback. They're going to have the ability to do that, and then they're going to have the ability to go and pay that quarterback, whether that's a draft or a free agent or something like that. They're going to be able to go and draft someone or pick someone up in free agency, and they're going to have the money to do it because they're paying this guy chump change to get them far in the playoffs. Now, again, you're going to have to give respect to Purdy, and I think you're going to have to re-sign him. He deserves it 100%. This guy's getting you to the playoffs. Not obviously single-handedly, right? He's doing it with a lot of his buddies, but he's getting you to the Super Bowl. He's doing this. He's doing that. Number 1 seed in the NFC, all that stuff, right? With him. So you're obviously going to have to give him a re-sign of something just out of respect because he earned it. But I think you're also going to have to say, like, all right, we got some money to kill because we paid this guy less than $1 million.
How better can they get, though?
Than Brock Purdy?
No, obviously they're going to save money up, to sign someone else. They're going to re-sign him.
That's what I'm saying. Well, you don't know.
They might.
They also may say, let's look at the draft.
If he wins the Super Bowl,
let's look at the draft and let's look at free agency. Can we go out and go get a big quarterback? If he wins them a Super Bowl
right now, they're going to re-sign him.
No, I agree. If he wins the Super Bowl. But let's say he doesn't, right? I could see them saying, all right, we're going to go and we have stuff to trade, right? They already had stuff to trade with Trey Lance, and they traded it away. I forget what they traded Trey Lance away for. I think it was picks, if I'm not mistaken.
I have no
money.
idea.
They really just freed him up and took some
they just let him go. And I was just sitting the bench, sitting on the bench.
They traded him to Dallas.
Yeah.
I think they traded him for picks and money, but they're going to have a shitload of money to go and sign people, whether they put that on the defensive side of the ball, the offensive side. They can have an ability to go and pursue a free agent quarterback.
You know what they have to do? I don't know if Brock Purdy, we're going to see this weekend. I don't know if Brock Purdy can bring them to a Super Bowl. He could bring them to a Super Bowl. I don't know if he can win them a Super Bowl against probably the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion. I think Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of all time. He's the most talented quarterback of all time. Can Brock Purdy win them a game? Can Brock Purdy win them a game? Period. Just him. Can he win them a game?
I don't think.
Let's say the run game's not working, right? Can Brock Purdy win them a game? I don't think so.
He doesn't really lose them games that much, but he doesn't.
Sometimes he does.
He doesn't lose them games that much.
I disagree. Sometimes he loses them games.
All right, so let's take this into perspective, right? Obviously, this may change. This is always subject to change, but going for 2025, right? Let's say when he's done, some free agents available: Dak Prescott, Jared Goff. There's a couple quarterbacks, as well as guys like Keenan Allen will be available, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper. Those guys will be done, but CJ Mosley.
Do they need this?
No, but they're gonna need quarterbacks. Zach Wilson.
Maybe oh my. Or then is the Niners solution to Brock Purdy
Trevor
Zach
Lawrence?
Wilson?
As long as Trevor Lawrence does not sign.
Oh, stop.
Trevor,
he's gonna be a Jaguar for life, and he's gonna have a career total of like 20 wins.
If they re-sign, well, do you think he's gonna want to stay in Jacksonville, be in a small market?
Who else is gonna want him? He's not really that good.
Trevor Lawrence.
He isn't. He had a terrible season this year.
Listen, you see what
Calvin Ridley.
You see what
and he was worse.
You see what San Francisco did with Brock Purdy. What do you think they're going to do with a guy like Trevor Lawrence? With a guy like an arm talent like Trevor Lawrence?
I don't know. I haven't seen Kyle Shanahan with a good quarterback. Think about it. I haven't seen the Niners with a good quarterback.
Yeah. I mean,
they draft the same quarterback, just game managers.
Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Jordan Love out of Green Bay. Ooh, he could be a wild card.
I know someone in the producer room likes Jordan Love. Yo, Robert. He isn't hearing me.
Yeah. So
big
quarterback
Jordan Love
2025.
Jordan Love's got a gun to him. I think Jordan Love is one of the best. One of the best young quarterbacks.
Trevor Lawrence, Tua is going to be on that list. Obviously Dak, but he's going to be pretty old to be going somewhere. Justin Fields is also in that class.
He's getting traded.
Yes,
because the Bears are getting Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Whether he wants to or not, whether he cries about it or not, he's getting drafted by the Bears.
Yeah, but is it going to become another Eli thing?
Maybe.
It could be.
Maybe it will.
Then where does he go? Then who knows where he goes?
He wants to go to like the Patriots. Oh, I forgot what he said.
Dude, him at the Patriots would be pretty cool.
I know Drake May is going to go to the Commanders, but all right. Well, we got to wrap this up because we're running out of time. What's your prediction for the Super Bowl? Give me a score.
35-28.
Who?
I hate to say it.
Don't say it. I'll say the Niners. You gonna say the Niners?
I think.
Don't say Chiefs. The Chiefs. 35-28 Chiefs.
It's gonna be a high-scoring game.
Who scores like the first touchdown?
McCaffrey's gonna run that ball up the middle. He's gonna walk it in.
Niners.
2 yards.
Who wins the MVP?
Mahomes. No, Taylor Swift.
Taylor
Swift's gonna win it. Taylor Swift's gonna win it.
Taylor Swift's gonna win the MVP, and she's getting a ring.
And she's getting a ring.
I probably have the same thing. I think it's gonna be like a high score. It's gonna be like, I think it's gonna be like 42-38. 42-30. No. That's way too high. 35-38. 35-38 Chiefs. Mahomes wins another MVP. Mahomes wins his third Super Bowl. And probably first touchdown is probably like Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I'll say
it's gonna be like a 10-yard dump. If the Chiefs
score first, it's Travis Kelce. If the Niners score first, it's McCaffrey.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's my thing. And then one last thing, coming up with keeping up with the Mahomes, freaking
his dad,
Patrick Mahomes Sr. getting a DUI, man. Oh, right before
Patrick
the Super
Mahomes'
Bowl.
dad has more DUIs than Patrick Mahomes has Super Bowls.
How many DUIs does Senior
3.
have? He's got 3 DUIs?
Yeah.
What? That's crazy, man.
Insane.
That's wild. Right before the Super Bowl, too.
We'll see next week when we come back.
Oh my goodness.
We'll talk about all this. We'll talk about the Isles, updating on the Isles. We'll talk about if our Super Bowl predictions are right. I'm going to write down our Super Bowl predictions, see if we See which one of us is more accurate.
Hey, another thing to keep in mind too. Pitchers and catchers is coming. Baseball is almost here.
Baseball's almost here. I'm
I
really
think we're gonna need
excited.
a little Mets and Yankees.
We're gonna hear a lot about the Mets in the next couple of weeks because they're gonna do absolutely nothing, and then Nick's gonna start complaining.
Nope.
Yeah.
Hey,
And then the Yankees are we're just riding that Juan Soto,
That's it.
train.
That's it, man.
It
That's all they're gonna do.
It doesn't matter. Juan Soto's a New York Yankee. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Wednesdays at 12. Thank you for watching. Talk to you next time.
How many viewers did